We'll be looking at Unit 4 in this video. We'll start with just a few basics here. That in Unit 4 we're going to be using templates, and these are found in about every kind of computer software you can find. And they're a great way for you to get work done fast and for it to look good. However, you also have to be careful because sometimes the templates interfere with what you're trying to do as a document. So the more familiar you are with them, you can modify them a little better and effectively use your time to complete different projects, whether it's in this class or any other class you might have to do. So I'm going to look here in business applications. Of course, we're now down on Unit 4 templates. And the first one we're going to do is a resume. And again, a template is a document that's already pre-formatted. So all we are doing is entering in our own information to complete it. So in this one, we're going to start as we look at the icon in Google Docs. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Docs. If you don't have it open, you can come here to the Google Apps menu and open Docs. If I go back, I can see here it tells me to use a Spearmint resume. And one thing, when we do templates, a lot of times in the instructions they change. So we might have a great template and then the next Microsoft or Google or whoever gives us an update. It may not be available, so if you're not seeing it, double check with your instructor. But try. You can see a search box here. My resume's right up here, but you can also use this template gallery and search up here if necessary. You'll also have in other programs like in Word search options as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select my resume here. And when you're doing resumes, especially as you're younger people, it's tough to think, what do I put in here because I need some experience. I haven't worked yet. Employers that are hiring young people understand that. So you really need to focus on what you've done at school and skills you've obtained even at home or working in the neighborhood, stuff like that. So we'll kind of go through that as we fill this out. Again, a template is set up already. And in this case, we're doing a resume, which is a document that most employers require to apply for a job. So the better your resume, the better your chance at a job. So it's a great time, even though some of you may not be of age to work yet, to start working on a resume. By the time you graduate high school, you should have just an outstanding one. If you are equal to somebody else side by side and your resume is better, you're probably going to get the opportunity to interview for a job before they are. So it is definitely worth your time. So like I said, this template's already set up. Again, I am in Google Docs. So I put my name in there. And maybe right here, what job we're looking at. So we'll just say this is entry level opportunity. And we put whatever job we're applying for there. And here we go ahead and we can also add our address in here. So I'll just enter that in real quick. Also right here, you can be putting in what job you're applying for. If you are in a career field and you have a specific title, you might enter that here. So we could say high school student, like the text says. I'm applying for a job around town, looking for an entry-level opportunity. So it kind of depends using this particular technique. I'm just using a sample here. This is just the school's info. And for your case, you should put in your own personal info, because if you do this now, you can be all set up to have this ready to go once you guys are ready to apply for jobs. As in the sample, it says to go ahead and list any special skills obtained through school programs or special training. So this could be anything you've done. Maybe if you got CPR certified to work at the pool, or anything in 4-H, anything you've developed a special skill is great to put here. So what I've added here is maybe something a high school kid could achieve easily at our high school. So maybe I type 50 words a minute. That's a special skill. I'm really good at Excel. I got CPR certified in my health class, and maybe I'm in a CrossFit trainer program to someday be able to be a CrossFit trainer. So those are all skills I may have developed as a high school student, and yours may be different. So it just kind of all depends what you're good at or have had the opportunity to participate in. The next area is experience. We can add here, especially since you're younger, community service, because a lot of teachers now are having projects where you do things for the community, which is fantastic because it gives you something to really fill that resume with. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a couple real quick and then review them. So in my experience section, I just noticed an error right there. Since I'm using all caps on my titles, I want to make sure it's consistent throughout the whole project here. So since I have caps on these title sections, I'm going to make sure I do there. I had it lowercase, so double check those things. And again, as you're a young person, it's tough to fill out a resume sometimes. So I took an example that could be many of you in class possibly. And actually, when I was a kid, I had to do this. So we'll say I take care of somebody's horses when I get home from school. So I list like their last name, the Johnson household in Canyon City, Colorado. And when I get out of school, let's say I have to go make sure the horses in feed and water. Depending on the time of year, I might need to halter them and brush them. So maybe those are things I do. That's a skill. That shows maturity and trust and all kinds of things. So it's great for you, especially as a young person who you may not have worked yet. These are things you can add on there. Maybe I know when I was a kid, we moved the horses to different pastures to eat down the ditch banks and stuff like that. So maybe that's something you had to do. You had to move all the horses. So that's a great experience. And of course, stacking hay, which is nobody's best friend, but definitely a skill and just shows that you have learned some things. And then I also added in here, maybe some of you fit this, and even if you watch your own siblings, that's still babysitting experience, still something definitely to put on. So we have the Smith household, maybe I've babysat for a couple years under the time frame here. And notice here I made another mistake. I went all caps here, so I should go all caps here. Same down here. Maybe even on the titles or the months here. Just keep it consistent. If you don't do all caps, just make sure you're being consistent throughout your whole document. So in the babysitting, I did evening childcare, maybe after school for ages 2 to 6, and I prepared meals and play for the kids. I know some friends of mine, they also pay their babysitter an extra to clean their house as part of their babysitting gig. So if you do anything else, like I said, a friend of mine paid extra money to their babysitter to actually do some of the cleaning of the house just because they work so much and they can't get home till 6. So you could have prepare family meals. If you do any of the cleaning, you could add any of that stuff to really pad the resume. So you guys really do a lot of things you may not realize. Another thing you can add is chores you do at home. If you have to mow the lawn, you know how to run a lawnmower and start it, put gas in it, maybe clean the filter on the lawnmower. All those things could fill out your resume. The next thing I added was my education, and Again, employers know that as a young person, you haven't been to college and stuff like that yet. Although, if you are doing concurrent enrollment classes, you can put that you're a PCC student on the list in addition to your Canyon City High School. So I have and then I just list that I'm a class of 2020, because like when did I go to school? You'll see a lot of that on resumes or application. You can just say current, and then if you put class of like 2020, they know you're going to be graduating. So a good thing to add here is some relevant courses. So I just put some sample courses. Again, this would be somebody a little older, maybe towards their junior or senior year, completed computer applications, ProStart, digital graphic design, game design, maybe technical writing class. If you feel like a class is specifically will help you in this particular job you're applying for, make sure you put classes that more apply to that. Other than that, put the classes you felt were the most represent you in the strongest way. And then finally, I have some other spots here for sports, activities, and awards. So other things you're doing, and they don't have to be on campus. If you're in ag or any of those other programs like that, 4-H, anything you might do around town, Civil Air Patrol. Any of those activities would be great to put on here. It does not have to be associated with school. So I put honor roll, FBLA, that's activity at school. Again, ProStart, which is like essentially a food safety class and some other great food stuff. I passed a test to get licensed in Microsoft Word and Excel. So anything you do there, if you're a captain on a sports team or you earned a letter in sports, that's a great thing to put there. And again, if you won awards in 4-H, any of those things are great. If you went to an art festival and held an art show and you won some awards with any of your art, that would be fantastic. Any of those things, even if they're earned as a team, like if you're on band and they place an event, those are great things to add on here. The one thing I didn't mention in the earlier video, when you're in Google and you're completing this and you need to get a copy of a PDF to your machine to submit, you're just going to go ahead and go to download and then PDF document. This will put it in the downloads folder on your computer, and then you can combine it with your files in Drive, and then you can submit all those together so they're all in one spot. So again, that is to get your Google assignment in as a PDF. I'm going to come to download, then I'm going to select PDF, and so then this one is ready to go.